So, good afternoon to all of you. Today we have with us Mr. Sunil Swami, who is already ARS officer in ICR system. He also secured All India rank 336 this year's UPSC CSE. He was Vajiram and Ravi student in 2015. After that, he has taken gap from UPSC for at least 5 years. He started once again preparation, given mains in 2022. He went up to the interview. Then he this year also he given the mains and got final rank 336. So he secured very good marks in agriculture optional, 270, one of the highest. Also he got 195 in interview 2022 attempt. This year I think 200 plus marks in interview. So a well experienced person, specifically he has expertise in paper second. So he will help you and guide you specifically for mains candidate. Please come in the frame. Mains candidate, how to prepare for upcoming 70 to 80 days for your mains. So welcome Sunil.
Thank you. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. And sorry to keep you waiting for 20 minutes. I think the time promised was 2:30 and we are meeting at 2:50. Anyways, so how many of you are going to write mains? I mean, tentatively, how many of you are believing that you will be writing mains? Because the cutoff would be somewhere around 80. Or you are preparing for 2026. Okay, no problem. So first of all, I'll just introduce myself. As Krishna sir has already done a lot part of it, but I'll keep it brief. So I completed my graduation in 2013, 1-3. So, and I got selected in 2024. So after 11 years, although I did not give UPSC exam for all those 11 years, there is one thing that you can learn from this 2 years, right? One is that patience. You have to, believe in yourself and be patient. Things happen when they are supposed to happen. There are things that you don't control. It might be possible that you are giving prelims this year, then qualifying it, you are writing it. It might be possible next 3 prelims you are not qualifying. UPSC is one exam where you go through all sorts of experiences. Don't just consider one experience as a indicator that okay, this exam is too difficult or too easy. Just because you qualified prelims, it is not too easy. Just because you didn't qualify prelims for 5 times, it is not difficult, because in 6th time you could be AIR 1. So it is the game of patience. Second is that okay, in 2013, though I completed my graduation, I qualified into ARS, Agricultural Research Service, in 2015 exam. So 16 result came, 17 I joined. So I was a working professional. So it is true that you can have preparation coupled with some other activities, but it is also true that if UPSC is difficult for people who are preparing only for UPSC, it is going to be several times difficult for those who are working professionals. So don't make a decision when it is not needed. Don't try to be working professional just because you have cleared 2 prelims, because it is not that easy. It is not that tough, as I said, because I have qualified at the end of it. But don't complicate things, keep it simple. UPSC is already way complicated. All you have to do is keep it simple. Cover your basic syllabus. There are pointers in the syllabus. We call them pointers. What you have to do is you use all of those pointers. Okay? Prepare each and every topic in a very simple way. Don't complicate it. So if you are preparing for prelims, when they say repo rate, there are 1,000 things you can learn about repo rates and still not enough. But if you learn on the basic aspect of repo rate, when the repo rate is increased, this happens. 2-3 things. Liquidity, this happens. Bond value, this happens. Or policy transmission, this happens. That is enough. The problem is that people have made it more complicated than the repo rate is. They have created some new species out of every pointer. They are trying to add so much into one single point that at a time we forget whether we are doing PhD in that subject or we are doing UPSC. Don't do that mistake, because even I did that for some time. I learned the lesson. Some of them are a hard way, and some of them I learned by seeing others. Don't make it complicated. Keep it simple. So I'll speak for another 5 minutes. They will take questions. So how to make it simple? The first approach is memorize the syllabus. Everybody tells you the same thing. Memorize the syllabus. Second is understand only the basics of syllabus. Only the basics. Even if somebody is going to come and tell you something in detail, you can just fold your hands and say कि नहीं नहीं चाहिए. Keep it simpler. Simple would help you in scoring good marks. If you see my marks, none of them is like outstanding. There is no outstanding marks except for interview where I think I did well. Others are, the only one thing you would say about my marks in mains is that none of them is worst. Okay. So all you have to do is that don't make any paper your weakest link. If you do that, you will qualify UPSC very early. You will get service very early. If you try to be expert, you try to score 114 GS4, then you have something to learn in the process. You learn humility after few failures. If you score 270, you target 260 to 70 in optional, you will get it. You target 300, you target 330, 350, UPSC will teach you some things then. So my most important learning in the process was I was doing too much in some aspect and I was doing too little in others. Don't do that. In prelims, I can talk about prelims also for 5 minutes. Okay. In prelims, people forget that only 50 to 60,000 qualify CSAT out of 6.5 lakh. So 1 in 10 person qualify CSAT. Even then, people don't even dedicate 2 months for CSAT. They don't even feel guilt of not qualifying CSAT. You prepare for 1 year, you score say 70 marks in GS. You feel guilty. 70 तो बहुत कम हो गया. 66 उससे भी कम है. We don't feel guilty about it. We have taken it for granted. So do the minimum. CSAT, focus on CSAT also. It is that one paper where people are giving 3 or 4 attempts to qualify CSAT. They have already qualified GS so many times. When I say only 60,000 qualify for CSAT, that means at least 1.5 lakh qualified for GS. Their score is more than the cutoff. So first thing for prelims, take care of your CSAT. Give 2 months, 3 months to it. GS you can qualify by one mark, 0.5 marks. I qualified by 1 question. 1 extra negative, this would not have happened. So don't do that mistake. Take your syllabus very seriously. If you qualify CSAT, there is a great chance that you will qualify prelims in 1 or 2 years. Because look at the cutoff. It is in the 80s. It is not low. It is still, 80 is not easy, but not tough. You can score 80 if you plan for, you don't plan high-fi things, you will score 80. 80 is like you prepare for 4 or 5 subjects in a proper manner and don't do any extra stuff in exam. So in round 2 or round 3, you have done 80 questions, you're still trying to do 100. That's like stupidity. You cannot throw things in the dark. Na? Okay, now mains. So my approach was, okay, so I clubbed my papers, GS 1 with 2, 3 with 4. So I said I don't need to score in GS 1 and GS 2 separately. I need to score in combination. How can I score GS 1 plus 2, 200? So that made my preparation very easy because I knew GS 1, art and culture and architecture, that was my weakness, or world history. I am not fully equipped with it. Being a student of science, I have my limitation. But because GS2 was more doable paper, no? You are all aware that GS2 is very predictable paper. They ask question from polity. All of us, when we say I'm doing UPSC, what is the first thing you do? You read polity. Unless you read polity, you are not doing UPSC. If you start with geography, you don't feel like you are doing UPSC. You feel you are doing UPSC only when you know that there is this commission which is constitutional, that body which is non-constitutional. Suddenly you feel like I'm doing UPSC. Nobody takes you serious if you say acidic lava versus basic lava. So I coupled my papers. And my target was score 200 out of these two. I made it easy. So paper 1 I scored something, paper 2 I scored something. My target was combined I should score this much. So I was not afraid of paper 1 now. I was afraid of the combination. I was like, okay, even if I score less in paper 1, I'm going to score good in paper 2 and that will take care of it. And that happened. This will also help you because there will be some parts in the syllabus where you will be weak. You have to accept that. There are only 15-20 people in this entire result who are outstanding. They are outstanding in everything. If you meet them, you will feel they are outstanding. But for others, they select 180 IAS. So 15-20 are outstanding. They are just out of this world. 160 are like me. They are smart. They are what we call street smart. They have planned well. So my idea was, polity I can score 110, paper 2. What if I score 90 in paper 1? That's good. 200 is good. That was very easy. Now if your GS3 is weak, increase your GS4. Don't spend too much time on GS3 because when things are difficult, you'll understand few things, it will take more time. Don't get too invested into it. You're not doing PhD here. Learn to harvest the low-hanging fruits. So prepare for disaster, prepare for your economics, which is more predictable than science, environment, which are unpredictable. Prepare for IR and polity, which is far more predictable than to prepare for art and architecture in detail. I'm not saying don't prepare. I'm saying don't go too much into it thinking, okay, yaar, IR to this architecture, I don't know anything. You need not to know. You'll know few things, just use the same rice to make idli or dosa, whatever you are making. Don't get confused. Now paper 3 I coupled with paper 4 as I told you. It could be 80-120, 90-110, 100-100, any combination. So that eased my pressure on the day. So when GS1 went tentative, I was still confident because I knew I'm going to use GS2 for GS1. Same with optional. How many of are having agriculture optional? Okay. Everyone. My paper 1 was tentative because it has a very generic nature to it. And then we go extra generic. If they ask you how to conserve forest flora and fauna, we start writing the GS answer. So paper 1 is highly non-technical paper. We call it non-technical paper. They'll ask you principles of agroecology and there are 15, 20, 30, you can write any number of principles. So depending upon what kind of principles you have wrote, your score differs. And then because of this diversity, people choose different things and the quality becomes different. There are few who incorporate many things. They will add diagrams, they will add KVK examples. And I was like, I don't have this much of time. I am working professional. So I was aware of my surroundings. I was aware of my realities. I was not giving exam to prove anything. My entire planning was how to get into the interview 20-30 marks lead. Because interview, I believed that I have some advantage. I can score 185 plus. That was my inner belief. But mains, I knew I cannot score 850. I might, but I need 2 years of separate preparation then. With my realities, it was not easy. So because I was aware of the reality, my expectations were very balanced. And because of that, it was very easy for me to even qualify this exam with me being scientist at ICR IGFRI Jhansi. So even with the things that were going around me, I have a daughter also. She's 5-year-old. So there are many things. My time was completely divided. Most of the time I was in train. Okay, so it was easy to guess where is Sunil Swami. He's in train. But if you just mind that reality and prepare if your planning is meticulous, you will do it. So my idea of paper one was, I referred to Krishna's notes also. So my reality was, I can score 130 plus if I use few things right. One is that use diagrams, not many diagrams, very few diagrams. So I made a separate file for diagrams. Agroecology, a diagram is there. Nothing on that paper other than diagram. So 15-20 pages of diagrams only. I was looking at the diagrams. So not content, diagrams. So you remember, if the question is on what are the principles of watershed management, the first thing you should remember is that diagram. So KVK, there is a diagram of KVK also. I hope everybody is from agriculture background. If not, we will discuss your questions also. So first thing that came to my mind was KVK's diagram. Doesn't matter if the question has open space for it, means if the content of the question is less, I can add the full diagram. If the content of the question is already full, I can add a small diagram. So first thing I improved on that. Second was question selection. Select the question in combination. So there are, I think, 10, 20, 20, this kind of question they give in agri optional. You can sacrifice the 10 marker, but never sacrifice the 20 marker. Even if your 10 marker is so accurate that you can score 7 out of 10, but still see if there is any chance that you can attempt the 20 marker. In 2022, I did not do that. I was so hooked up on a 110 marker that I sacrificed my 20 marker for that. You write something, all of us write something in there. Nobody is keeping it blank unless it is agri-engineering question of calculate the water needed. That was blank. So that, if you're sacrificing 10 marker and you're doing average or above average in 20 marker, you're still getting more numbers. So make that calculation. So if I have a 10 marker where I can score 6, I have a 20 marker where I can score say 12, 18. But if I'm sacrificing 20 markers, scoring 4 marks or 5 marks, that is 23. Into 5 is 115. No? But if I do opposite, 120 marker, it is giving me 12 marks. Another 20 marker, it is giving me 10 marks. How much is that? Already I made the goal, right? Now, whatever you write in 10 marker, even if it is average, you can score 3-4 marks, and even 1 mark matters. You see on my rank 336, there are 13 people with the same score. So 13 people, we have scored 956 exact. Okay. There are 7 people above me and 5 people after me who have scored the exact marks. So it matters. So even if you are scoring 1 mark extra because of your question selection, it has a direct bearing on your final result. Okay. Second is that. So another approach for optional 1 is use technical words. In GS4 and optional 1, people in agricultural optional 1, your score depends upon the words that you are using. If you are using it saves water or water efficient, it matters. To say that water efficient shows that a person has an agricultural background. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you have a background of agriculture or not, but it gives you certain similarity with the person who is examining it. We call it as a lingo. There is a language of everything. Right now I am speaking in English, you guys are understanding it. I can use another language, some of you will understand it. So it's like that. If you use agronomic language or agricultural language in paper 1, the examiner understands it. Okay, I can say the same thing in another language, but still it doesn't help. So use the technical words in paper 1. I think that was the biggest change I did this year. Now coming to paper 2. First time I scored 145 in 2022. Second time I scored 137 because in 24 paper was slightly tougher. It happens, paper now optionals are tougher, so you need to have a guidance, you need to have test series, because you cannot just take this exam for an experimentation. You cannot make mistakes every time in a separate mistake. You have to learn from others' mistake. Okay, not, they say not every what is that, no mistake is fatal, but then you cannot do all sorts of mistake. All of us, our mental capacities only to suffer few mistakes, right? So what I'm saying here is essentially, first year you may say, okay, I don't need much of a guidance, you go and write, you miss cutoff by 5 marks. Next year you might miss prelims. I did that. 2022 I missed cutoff by 13 marks. 23 prelims failed. Now you have a situation where you don't want to give prelims. You directly want to go to the interview, because once you have given interview, everything else becomes a hurdle. That is very tough. So don't keep it open for mistakes each and every time, a fresh mistake. No. Take guidance from your teachers, from your seniors, from the other person. There is no senior junior in UPSC actually. Do that. Test, you have to write a lot of tests. I didn't do that. I wrote 2-3, but even that helped me. It didn't feel like I'm writing for the first time in actual exam. So do write a lot of tests. You guys are, I think most of you are graduate. Okay, so your knowledge base is very limited. If you don't fix it by now, you will be in trouble. It will evaporate. The moment you read more and more GS, your optional knowledge will evaporate. I am PhD, so my case was different. Even then, your optional syllabus is so vast. You might be PhD in SIT technology. How does it matter? You have to read extension also. So remember that whatever knowledge you have of your optional because of your graduation, or because you have chosen agriculture and you are non-agricultural graduate, even then fix it. Fix that base of minimum 240 to 50 marks on any day. How do we do that? Write tests. If you write tests, one thing is certain. You will be able to score at least 40% mark in actual exam just because you have wrote test. Once you know how to write Mendel's first law and second law, if you write it 2-3 times in different tests, what happens 4th times? Your subconscious memory will write that minimum answer. Maybe you will make a mess of a ratio here and there, or your statement is not as scientific as it should be, but you score 40% marks. 40% of 500 is 200 without preparing. So like you get a result of prelims, on that day you have scored 200 marks if you have written test series in a previous year. So I wrote, I think in total this year 2, last year 1, 3, and even those 3 helped me. I should have wrote at least 10 with my working professional background, with my master's and subject background, PhD background. For you, the target could be 15. You write it. It will help. No doubt about it. Okay? Because it fixes your knowledge. It will fix your concept. Okay, so what are the principles of farm management? You have wrote it 3 times in the test series. Now you are writing it the 4th time, and very easy. I wrote that same question in one of the test series. And then I saw what are the decisions and what are the principles. Okay. I knew. अब 12-13 देना पड़ेगा इसको. क्योंकि this is like they are all they are watching is your written paper. 1750 marks to written. Okay, I'll give you one more interesting statistics. I have scored 956. My optional score is 270. My interview score is 206. Add it, it is 476. Half of my score is from only 775 marks. 500 optional and 275 for what? Your interview. So out of those 775, I have scored half of my total score. And out of remaining 1300, I have scored other half of my score. So if your optional is strong, you are guaranteed a rank any year. It might happen that if your optional is strong, you might get clear prelim this year. If you make a mess in some other subject, you may not get a rank. But next year, if your optional base is strong, you will score 280 sometimes. Like 280 is like it will push you to the PDF. Okay, most of the people who have failed to get into the final PDF, they are as intelligent as those who have got into the PDF. You will see most of the rejections, 80% of their rejections are because of their optional score. 80%. I'm saying it with a very modest estimation. 10% would be because of interview. 130, 120 वो भी होता है. So interview you have to prepare. In 30 minutes you could be scoring 150 or 210. So 60 marks in 30 minutes. That's a huge. So it's like, I think polity they ask this. IR they ask for 60 marks in paper 2. For that you read a lot of content. You watch many videos of YouTubers. So you have to spend enough time on that. If your optional is stronger, you might get into PDF any year if other 2-3 papers, that combination goes well. If your luck favors a bit, if you plan well, if you spend good enough time, not taking 15 days gap, 20 days gap in between. If you do that, it might happen. People with good optional will get a rank some year or the late. People with a bad optional might get rank some year. Understand the difference. So with good optional and one more good subject or interview, it's like you just need to write mains. The biggest burden or biggest hurdle would be prelims. But people with a bad optional, the biggest hurdle is mains, and that has a weightage of 86%. You cannot be getting a rank if your 86% has a problem. Prelims, they don't calculate in the final total, right? So what you have to do? Prelims, it is just a filter. 14,000 separated from 6.5 lakh or 7 lakh. But in mains, out of those 14,000, 2,800 will be in the PT, personality test. So my suggestion is that make sure that your optional is your strongest subject. You will score 10 less or 10 more depending upon the year, depending upon the scaling. There are many things. But your optional should be any day. If they give you paper, you should score 240. Then it is like this easy. Okay. Why I'm telling you this? Because in 2022, my score was 267. And I qualified mains cut off by 4 marks. So lead I had in mains was 4 marks lead. And then I missed final cutoff by 13 marks because I scored 195 in interview. Now you can see if I have scored 20 marks less in my optional. Okay, next year our Yojana. Same happened in 2024. I scored 270. Imagine 20 marks less in my optional. 250 is still a good score. It is not an excellent score, but it is still a good score given that the way optionals are, playing these days. So one thing was static. You add 267 plus 192, that is 462 marks, 2022. This year it was 476, right? 14 marks improved. So the minimal improvement I did was here, and yet I got a rank. So make sure your optional is good and your interview is good. If that is taken care, then another 1300 marks you can do the minimum. Don't try to be the expert of GS 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. You need not to be expert of it. Okay, you want to score top 10 rank, then you might have to listen to someone who has scored top 10. I am not the right guy. because I did the minimum. I did a smart work. There was a risk of me scoring very less in one subject and thereby getting out of the PDF. That risk was there. But there was also a possibility, because I was focusing on all subjects in a very calibrated manner. There was also a possibility that none of the subject would pull me down. I'll score bare minimum. So it's like you might have seen people have scored bad in one paper or one event out of these 8 events, 7 paper and 1 interview, and they're out of list. There are, I think, out of 2800, 800, 900 selected, remaining 1900, you can fairly say that at least in 1000 results, it is one paper or the other. That's it. So for remaining 900, it may be 2 papers, 3 papers, maybe health related issue. 1000 things can go wrong. Okay, so I think I have done enough of what I wanted to say. I'll take few questions and then we'll wrap it up. So please ask.
Sir, you have been traveled in this journey for some time. Can you tell about time management? How do you do this?
Okay, so you need timetable only when you have multiple work, right? If you're a full-time aspirant, there is no need of timetable. There are only 2 activities. Take care of yourself and take care of your study. So there is no, now as far as time management is concerned, because my case is completely different, I don't see my management would help you. If I can take a guess, my idea would be, if you're appearing next year, next 3 months do the optional. When I say do the optional, at least take 10-15 tests. Don't take test only when you complete 100% syllabus. That is never going to happen. If I give you 20 years to read optional, नहीं होगा syllabus cover. मेरा नहीं हो पा रहा यार PhD में. I got selected in 2017 in ARS. 8 साल हो गए मुझे. नहीं होता क्योंकि होगा ही नहीं ना. They are open subject. Everything is coming up, evolving है. If things are evolving, how can you complete it? So first thing is that in next 3 months, 2-3 months, complete your optional. Couple your optional with GS4 so that it breaks the monotonous nature. Now, what I am telling was suitable for me. It may not be suitable for you. Okay? So take it with a pinch of salt. So you couple optional with ethics so that there is no monotony. These 2 are highly scoring subject. Make sure bulk of your marks come from 4 papers. That worked for me. Paper 2, predictable. Paper 4, predictable. Optional 1 and 2, predictable. For 1, GS1, GS3, you can rely on minimum wala technique. Okay. Next is time, as I said. Then 3 months of optional, 1 month of ethics. I referred Piyush sir's classes because I did foundation in 2015, but the same year I was giving ARS exam. So my foundation was very weak. Vajiram's foundation classes were extremely outstanding that time also, but I was half present in 2015, 2016. That was my batch. Then I quit preparation and started again in 2020. So my suggestion would be 3 months of optional, 1 month of ethics, 4 months are done. You can give 1 more month to paper 2, 5 months, and then other subjects you can read as per your convenience. If you are weak in modern history, read that. If you are weak in art and culture, read that. Because there you will score more or less similar marks. If you take the average of, remove top 100 from the marks, that analysis might be coming to you. It might already be in a public domain. You will see out of, except for top 100, the average for from 101st to 300 is almost same. Paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4. Then 300 to 500, the average would be almost same. 500 to 800, the average would be almost same. Because these papers are not, they don't have a range. They're very limited in scope. So give less time to them. Because even if you do outstanding, the possibility is that you'll score 110 or 115 in GS1. But the time you spent, the same amount of time could have been spent in optional and you could have increased by 30 marks. So look at the benefit and cost. Don't be emotional in this exam. The madness should strive you to the library. The madness should strive you to stay focused, not applying for other exams, not for ARS also. But the method should help you in studying. You cannot confuse method and madness. Use madness as an inspiration. Use madness to go into the library even when you're sick. Use madness to not attend the family functions. But use method for preparation. People are emotionally reading. Don't do that. So do tactically. So how much time we got? Time is not an issue. I can take 10. Okay. So 4-5 months of preparation, then start for, if your agricultural background, pay enough time on CSAT. If you are not scoring 66 there, even if you are scoring 100, you are not a serious aspirant. Even if you are scoring 130, you are more casual aspirant than the person who is scoring 100. Because how is it that you are scoring 130 in GS and you are not taking care of scoring 66 in paper 2? It doesn't make you a sincere aspirant. Just because you took the book of art and culture, went to library, came back, you are not a serious aspirant. You could be an emotional aspirant, maybe, yes. But if you are spending enough time on CSAT, making sure that there is no chance in the hell that you will disqualify in CSAT, yes, you are a serious aspirant. Because GS, you may score 5 less or 5 more than your study. You might be, your study level might be of scoring 100, you would score 90. Possible hai. 2 hours, question drop. There are many permutation and combinations. You may be a guy who can score 100, but you have scored 115 that year. Possible, because 3-4 things might go your way. Only 1, only 2. Only 10 added. Hota hai. But in CSAT, you have to be top notch. So don't think of you being a serious aspirant if you are not spending enough time on that part. So I think prelims I have discussed enough. There also give tests. My major focus is on mains. I think mains also have given you some insights that I had. My insights were clear that I have 4 optional subjects. Optional 1, 2, paper 2 and paper 4. Okay, GS2 and GS4. That were the core of my preparation. But it would happen for 1 or 2 or 3 people that they will score less in optional but more in other subjects and they'll get a rank. So let's say if there are 1,000 people getting selected, I would say 5% of the candidate will get selected on the basis of other subjects. But 95% will get selected on the basis of optional. Wake up and marry that reality. Okay, if you do that, you will qualify much earlier. The only hurdle then would be your prelims, that you have to qualify. You have to give yourself that chance of 10 days of mains. Okay, use this 200 and 200, 400 marks prelims to give yourself a chance of writing 750 marks mains. Because 750 is where you get selected. Interview is where you get rejected. Rarely people get selected because of interview. People get good ranks because of interview. That is possible. Rarely. As I again said, 5%. If you are that lucky, I think you can simply close your books and write exams. If you believe that much in luck. Luck is there, but after 200% of work, 100% luck in UPSC. Luck will only favor those 2,800 people who have studied a lot. Okay? So please, any other question? I'll keep brief now so that you...
What was your interview experience? What did they ask you?
Most of my questions were on agriculture, because of one is that I have research experience, another is my entire DAP was agriculture. Then they also asked me questions on social justice related topic. So most of them The intention of interview is completely different than what we think of. We think interviews like they are going to ask me a question, I have to answer. No. They are not asking you questions. They are giving you topic to discuss. And they want to see the depth of discussion, the comprehensive nature of discussion. So if they ask you, okay, so there is a problem that there is a green revolution we had and there were negative effects of green revolution. Now that topic is given to you and you say, yes sir, so that we need organic agriculture. You are answering. Your answer is perfect. Yes, we need organic agriculture. Yes, we need precision farming. Yes, we need minimum agriculture or minimum tillage, zero tillage. Yes. What you missed? That we have 140 crores of people. So if that comes in the picture, you are a guy who can discuss, or you are a person, you are a aspirant who can discuss the subject in a proper manner. Yes sir, green revolution certainly had its disadvantages, but we have 140 mouths to feed. Nobody has that level of population. With our poverty, we needed measures where we can survive. When your survival is in question, you will take COVID vaccine, which is tested in 2 years of time. Now that approach helps you. So interview, my experience was, they asked me income tax, agricultural income taxation. I answered in a very simpler manner. It should not be taxed to those who are already in a poverty trap or having a low income, but it should be taxed where the income is very high. And then I justified by saying that our investment in R&D of agriculture is very less. We can use some tax money so that agriculture sector takes care of itself. If you give this kind of a nuanced understanding, examiner they are giving you a topic to discuss. That they are helping you. We think it is quiz. No, it is not. I know this. No, it doesn't help you. Even if you don't know, you can still answer the question if you just stay stable. If you're volatile there, that is exactly their testing. Are you volatile? Because you will be dealing with MPs, MLAs, you will be dealing with people who are, all sorts of powerful people in the society. If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel emotional there, then I think that's the very thing UPSC doesn't want. If you're calm as a cucumber there, that's it. So they are all checking is calmness. How calm are you and how comprehensive are you? The farmer comes to you, says, okay, so there was a lot of rain and our crop is damaged. And every year you guys come here and give us this notice. They might be coming every year because every year that is happening. That interview is completely different thing. Interview is like if you are talking to 5-4 senior members of your family, how do you treat them? You treat them with a lot of respect. You know, ye Fuaji bete hain, Buaji beti hai. So you don't mess up Pitaji bete hain. So it's like that approach. If you are taking an approach ki these people know everything. Now I have to show them that I also know these things in a very polite way. Okay? You can be cocky outside, you can be little confident, extra confident, that is fine, that is your life. But there, in front of those people, see, what does a DM do or what IPS officer is doing? To his subordinates, he is like a boss or leader, whatever you call. You take a very cozy terms from ethics, leader, fine. What exactly he is doing? There he has to be like very strict, no? Accommodative yet strict. What that officer is doing when the CM is in the state or district? Yes, sir. We'll do that, sir. Sir, it is very difficult. We'll adjust. Okay, ma'am, there could be a female CM. Ma'am, it is difficult. We'll adjust. We'll see. Why that approach is different? So when you are sitting in the interview hall, they are selecting you. They might be selecting for the rest of your life because even if you get into police, they select DG police. They are the one who choose top 3 when the state send them the list of the people who have served for more than 25 years. I think you know how IPS is selected as how DGP are selected. So they are going to affect your life in total. They are that experienced. Your only job is to make them believe that you are a person who listens to senior, who takes the stand but in a very polite manner, who knows authority, yet who knows the limitation of authority. That's like we do that in front of our relatives. We can say thousand things, but we don't say. We say it in a very polite manner. You can be moody, but they are not giving you marks. Here they are giving you marks. So stay calm. My experience was that I just thought, okay, they are my family members, and I have to make sure that I don't make a mess. And I was very calm. I think right now I'm not that calm. Okay? I was far calmer there. Anyways, next question. Okay, the last question. Okay. Paper 2. Okay. To be honest, I didn't read books because books are very bulky. I took some idea from the books. I have books in my home. So I went through their index, but everything looks important there. You can't choose them. Better is to take notes from one or two sources. For example, now KB's notes, that is compilation. He might have referred 10, right? You just take that. You can take one more if you need to. Actually, you need not, because he's working on that. Why you want to repeat the effort? But you can take one more just to be, just to calm your nerves. And then select which topic you're going to read from which notes. 2 sources, that is enough. 2 sources is much more. But I'm making a responsible statement here. I'm saying 2 sources is more than enough. Take 2 sources, choose the topics from each of the sources. At the same time, reject some topics from each of the sources. Mark it with a red or blue, whatever the hell you do. And make sure that your notes are ready without you writing it. There should be ready-made notes that you are using. You can do incorporation. You can do addition, modification when you are reading. You can say, okay, so now they have given data, say for 2014 and 2019, increase in food grain production. 2023, you can add 2024. That is enough. Am I making sense? They have asked some question, you can just add. You just add a line or 2 in that notes itself. Use stickers or write on the page itself. When you are reading for the actual mains that year, make a micro notes, 50 pages for paper 1, for paper 2. I did that. So what happens now is you have a paper, you will only make micro notes for those topics that you don't know. If I know Mendel's law, I will not be writing those law again in my book, micro notes. No, I know them. So micro notes is like a very simple personal kind of notes. You will be writing things that you don't know or you want to read it one more time. So make a micro notes. Start with 2 existing sources. Refer question bank. At the end of the day, it is the same content, but in a different question. They asked seed testing. What are the different seed laboratory tests? What they did, they clubbed vigor test, health test, your purity test, moisture test in one question. They asked what are the different seed testing. Now, it could be 4 or 5 topics in the notes, right? So look at the question. They are asking the same thing, but in a different manner. And at the end of the day, you're not chasing 500 marks in optional. Forget that. You're chasing 420, 430. Out of that, you have to score. Because 60-70 marks would be such. They'll ask additional question. They'll ask food security question. They'll ask something else. How to make cow pit pat. I don't know what that word was. So see, I don't know the question also. And in that, you have to make sure that whatever you know, add. So 420, 430 is your targeting. For remaining 60-70, you are making on-spot arrangements. Whatever you know, you add. At the end of the day, it is 420, 430 with confidence, with proper content, which will give you score. Remaining 60-70 might give you 10-15. So you are not complete. It's like 2-3 questions from paper 1 or 2-3 questions from paper 2. You are going to be wanting on the content. Means you will not have enough content. That content may not be in your notes also. You have to arrange. And that will happen. Once your concepts are clear, that will definitely happen. You need not to read what are the different methods of reproducing horticultural plants. Same methods. You never read from that horticulture wala perspective. Okay? Don't. That is the single biggest mistake aspirants will do. And you will always find. Now, I think this year also, there is one book of economics. I will not name the author because you will buy it again. I know. Dil nahi manta na. So, what happened is there are 2-3 questions. Price instability. Economics question. Another was your farm management principle. Decisions involved in farm management and principles of it. There are subheadings in that book. Types of instability, subheading, proper subheading. Now the question is, yes, directly asked. Do you know next time what subheading they are going to ask? And can you read 500 pages book for that? Look for the benefit cost. You might read a book, you might have seen, okay, 3 questions were asked last year from this book. Question is, can you read 400, 500 pages book? And can you remember? You can read, you have time. Aspirant always has a time for reading. They don't have time for revising. That's why they revise next year. Okay? 6 attempts are given for us because we generally don't learn by listening to the speeches. Okay? I'm just making it funnier. It's not the case. You guys will listen to me, I know. I listened to few, that's why it took me 5 years. Okay? So I think I have already taken enough time. Thank you, all of you, for your patient listening. If you have any question, I think you can put that question in a group and your sir will forward it to me. Okay, thank you so much.